Hi, my name's Leon Rowe, currency trader and trading coach at trading180.com, and welcome to this week's supply and demand Forex, gold, and S&P fundamental and technical analysis for the week ahead, starting the 22nd of December. And it's going to be a bit of a short video this week, as there's really not much to kind of discuss. It'll be basically just going over really more just what's happened during the week in terms of some fundamental analysis. But I'll skip the week ahead and what's coming up, as the data really doesn't matter too much, and it's not going to be market moving because pretty much all traders are going to be on holiday for the next couple of weeks until the new year. So just getting straight into the technicals, starting on the dollar index, equally weighted dollar index, and pretty much what we've seen this year is the dollar pretty much break to new highs, right? So year to date, right here, dollar's broken to new highs, and it's really been because of the Trump effect, I guess. Is Trump's policies are seen as inflationary. Also, as well, data has supported the fact that the Fed don't have to cut as aggressively as the market first thought, and so when we go to the United States, it says here this that the dollar rallied to the strongest level in over 2 years after the Federal Reserve signaled a slowdown in the pace of monetary easing next year. And so it says here, as economic data has come in strongly, Fed expectations have become more hawkish, supporting the dollar, says Skylar Montgomery Conning, a foreign exchange strategy at Barclays, following the Fed meeting. So ultimately, less uh, uh, rate cuts being priced into the market means that there's less weakness, right? Because cuts should have the effect, or supposed to have the effect, of devaluing a currency. And if you're going to devalue the currency less, then of course I say of course, but the currency should strengthen as the market prices out that weakness. And so the dollar for me into 2025 is a continued buy. Really no reason to short the dollar, but any pullbacks I think should be buying opportunities, not necessarily on the dollar index per se, but just as confluence. So if it pulls back to a nice demand zone, and then you're looking for a really a buy on any of the dollar crosses. Dollar yen. So dollar yen. Two things really this week. Of course, not only was um, the Federal Reserve hawkish in their statement this week, but we also had a dovish Bank of Japan. So if we go to Japan, and the outlook is deteriorating after the Bank of Japan skipped a potential hike, while the central bank's economic statement can be seen as somewhat dovish, according to strategists. The cautious BOJ, compared with the Fed's hawkish tilt Wednesday, may give further impetus for carry traders to bet on future yen weakness, Saxo Markets says. So again, kind of a dovish Bank of Japan statement. Right, where was it? It was on the it was here. It was on the what day was that? The Thursday. Pretty much, sent the yen weaker. So ultimately, now I think really the path of these resistance should continue to be to the upside into 2025 for now, until really the Bank of Japan start to get hawkish. I really can't see why you would really want to buy the yen at the moment if they're going to remain dovish, and kind of wait until maybe even rumors are circulating that they could wait until March before looking for a rate hike rather than January. So again, that rumor, you're buying the rumor, selling the facts, and that rumor, if it's got a bit of legs, then ultimately any pullbacks should be buying opportunities for the dollar yen. Dollar Swiss, again, I think for me continues to be a buy trade. Prices have kind of broke through that supply zone, and as I always say, there's no supply zone or any kind of technical level that's really going to stand in the way of strong fundamentals. So I think again we should see some upside, whether it's going to be here or whether it's going to be here, or whether it's going to be somewhere in between, where prices may create some sort of demand zone and then prices move to the upside. Who knows, right? But ultimately, I think we're going to this trend is likely to continue. The Swiss franc did end up cutting rates by 50 basis points this year, well, at the last meeting, and so I would expect that weakness to kind of continue. The one thing that could strengthen the Swiss franc would be more risk off sentiment, or yeah, I would say probably more risk off sentiment, in the end being used as a safe haven currency. But ultimately, I think the dollar still has the edge in that department. So really more upside potentials, either, at this demand zone, or moving to the upside. Now, I wouldn't necessarily, establish any really new trades in the next couple of weeks. Wait until the new year, once the dust kind of, well, once the traders start to come back, I guess, and then you start to look for some trades, maybe first thing New Year's. And that goes for all currencies. Dollar CAD again. Dollar really should be the buy out of the two. So any pullbacks into a demand zone, or a prices make higher highs, and then we pull back into that area there, that should be a buy trade. So moving on to the pound, and the pound, I do think is more of a buy than a sell. Not necessarily against the dollar. I think the dollar really is, the strongest currency at the moment. But in terms of the fundamental data, looking at the UK, it says traders are sticking with bets that the Bank of England will reduce interest rates gradually next year, after data Wednesday highlighted underlying inflationary pressures in the economy, while money markets priced a touch more easing after the report. Traders are still favoring only 2 quarter point cuts in 2025 at the end of last week, a third cut reduction fully priced, and the moves won't alter the expectation of a cautious Bank of England, said Derek Halpenny, head of global market research at MUFG. Yields will remain supported and spreads will provide the pound with support. So the it says here traders have slashed expectations for easing, 2025 easing. Have I read that wrong? Traders have slashed expectations for 2025 easing. Apologies. So when we talk about the pound, it sounds good, but from an economic perspective, there are talks about stagflation, where you have potentially rising or stubborn inflation, but the economy isn't doing so well. So, in terms of buying the pound against the dollar, I do still think that probably likely to go short, although I'm not necessarily trading this pair at the moment. I don't think the divergence is that big. But ultimately, I do think that any of these levels should be decent for a short trade into the new year, with a strong dollar. I do think the upside will be capped, but also as well, the pound could be supported around this area as well, the 124, 125s. So, but yeah, that's where we are with the pound dollar. Pound yen, I think probably more upside potential should be on the cards, as we now know that the Bank of Japan is more dovish. So really kind of pulling back to any of these demand zones. So demand, that's just quite a large area of demand right there. So within this zone here, I would say a pullback would be decent before looking at going long. Also as well, if you want a bit of extra confluence, just look for some support and resistance also within that area. And yeah, you can see it there, 1, 2, 3. So if it does pull back down to the 193s in the new year, then I think that's going to be a nice area to look for some long trades. The euro index. Now the euro index has been gradually grinding higher, which is a bit surprising, to be fair. I thought that the euro would have sold off by now. Going into the new year, though, I do think that prices should move to the downside. I do think any upside is due to kind of seasonality, Over the past, I think, was it 20, 25 years, they were saying that the euro typically does tend to strengthen in the last, 3, 4 weeks of the year, and maybe into the new year as well, the first week or two. But then it typically does tend to, weaken into the next, or I think it's like from the second week to maybe the eighth week, 5, 6 weeks of the new year. So I'm expecting more downside potential. Also, as well, from a fundamental perspective, Europe's central banks are taking a determined dovish turn to aid economies, bracing for more disruption. In fact, no, that wasn't the article. One second, let me just scroll down a bit. Here it was. It was saying here that Germany is heading into 2025 facing a snap election, trade tensions with the US, and possible recession. So Germany is Europe's economic engine. So if Germany, got all these issues and problems, then you could see more weakness in the euro. So Donald Trump's election win spurred bets that the US yields will stay higher for longer to account for a more expansive fiscal policy, while European rates will continue to fall. So US yields, government treasury yields staying higher, really indicates less rate cuts, whereas the European Central Bank and bond yields, uh, if they're falling, then that indicates actually potential rate cuts, some more rate cuts. So the US is in a much stronger position versus the Eurozone, said Evelyn Gomez Lichi, a strategist at Mizuho International PLC. We expect the decoupling theme to remain during 2025, given the diverging fundamentals, right? So the diverging fundamentals between the two, the US being the stronger, the euro being the weaker, right? So ultimately, I do expect the euro to eventually, weaken in 2025. So yeah, let's see what happens with the euro. So going to the euro dollar, I think really any pullbacks into supply zone should be shorting opportunities, right? I ended up taking profit last week. But then prices went further down. So I'll just look to get back in really on this. So any pullbacks up into this area here, if there's an entry on a lower time frame, then I'll look for a short trade there. Euro, yen, and again, I was looking at short trades on this, ended up getting a really small loss as I trailed my stop down, and that was really due to the, again, Bank of Japan being a lot more dovish and holding rates. So not a pair I'm really interested in trading anymore, but if you are, then you can look for a buy trade if you're looking to buy the euro, that is. If there is a pullback, you can look to buy the euro. If you're looking to sell or buy the yen, short the euro yen, then a move back up into this area here is actually decent. But again, I think the rumor for the Bank of Japan becoming more hawkish is what is needed for this to move to the downside. Euro pound. Now, euro pound, this I do actually like this currency pair to the short side, and looking to short the euro against the pound. So I think any moves really from now, maybe even further up, are really shorting opportunities. As the pound, I think, is in a much better fundamental position than Europe. They got at least some sort of political stability, although there is stagflation fears. There's not really recession fears. So the pound at the moment in a much better position. So I think any move from now, if you're looking at a short trade, or if it does pull back up into the supply zone above, I think this is going to be a really nice area to look for a short trade. Um, Aussie dollar, and the Aussie dollar hasn't done great in terms of the Australian dollar. I thought that the Australian dollar would have been one of the stronger currencies, but it hasn't turned out. I wasn't expecting to be strong against the US dollar, but against some other currencies, it was quite surprising. But ultimately, this is really due to the potential of the trade tariffs, right? So with Donald Trump raising potentially raising tariffs on China, the effect of that is that Australia, because Australia is well, China is Australia's biggest trade partner, or one of them, and so any weakness for the Chinese yuan is kind of reflected in weakness for the Australian dollar. So ultimately, against the US dollar, it does look like the Australian dollar is, weakening. So any pullbacks up into a supply zone is likely to be a short trade. Again, not really a pair that I'm that interested in. I'm more interested in more the dollar New Zealand for a short trade. But I think commodity currencies at the moment aren't doing great against the dollar overall. So part of this resistance should still be to the downside if you get a pullback. With gold, gold has been a bit of a tricky one to read. I was saying over the past couple of weeks, really, because you can look at it in the way that the dollar strengthening would mean gold weakness, right? Which is what we're seeing, but also as well, there could be some risk events on the horizon that cause the gold to move to the upside. But at the moment, I think we're in a bit of no man's land. I wouldn't necessarily look for any kind of buy trades now. It would have to be a buy trade that pulls back into that demand zone there. If you're looking for a bit of a supply zone and a bit of a short, then pull back up into this supply zone before looking at going short. So no real directional bias really on gold for now. But yeah, you can look for either longs or shorts. And the S&P 500 did sell off a bit. Of course, no rate cuts or less rate cuts coming means the era of cheap money is being prolonged a little bit. But ultimately, I do think that the S&P should make new highs eventually. We have pulled back into this zone, and I do think ultimately, though, that any pullbacks into this area here, or if it pulls back into the 5, 680s, I think it should be decent buying opportunities. We've had this trend on the daily move to the upside, and normally after a trend, we typically get some sort of auction or ranging market. Now, where the market may range from might be around here, or it could be somewhere around here. I think like I said, the 5, 6, 7, 9 area. So this could be where the market starts to um, look like it wants to move sideways and be accepted, and value is accepted between buyers and sellers overall. But I would be more of a buyer than a seller for the S&P for now. So any pullbacks into this either 5, 6, 8, maybe 8, 6, 8, 8 level, or just slightly lower if there's any entries, that would be where I'm looking at buying in the new year. And so that brings us to really the last analysis of the year. I hope you had a great trading year. If not, not to worry. As long as you've got your account, you haven't blown it up, then you can always improve your trading, and maybe join Trading 180 if I can help you with the fundamentals and get you on the right path. We are opening up early January, so check out trading180.com for more information. And again, hope you all have a blessed Christmas and a wonderful new year, and I'll see you in the new year. Take care.